All right, good morning, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to the PPP weekly press conference. With me, as usual, is our General Secretary. He will be making some comments, after which we'll be opening the floor for questions. Yes?
Good morning, everyone. I'd like to start off with Mr. Granger's pronouncement that Guyana will, quote-unquote, soon be a safer place. This is like offering Guyanese a pie in the sky. For example, bandits are now at the gates of the United Nations Development Program, UNDP. International public servants are now under attack. Hotels where tourists stay are under attack. The shopkeeper is under attack. So is the farmer. Residents within the peace of their homes are under attack. So are countless others. The criminals are here, there, and everywhere. They are omnipresent. First, Granger called for a crime-fighting plan. Secondly, we were told that the plan was with Ramjatan. Thirdly, we were told that the plan was with the National Security Council, which Granger chairs. Fourthly, that the plan was with the Commissioner of Police to be tweaked. Fifthly, that the plan was to be made public. And sixthly, that there is no plan. In fact, there was never a plan. It was all a plan of deception that lasted for 1.5 years. Now we are told that soon a security sector reform action plan will kick off. But there are more questions than answers in respect to this plan. What about the financing of this plan? Who will finance the plan? Will the plan be financed solely from the government coffers? How much will the British government contribute? How long is the plan for? And what are the key components of the plan? And finally, will the plan be made public? We were recently told by the Commissioner of Police acting that the SWAT team is part of, quote-unquote, a holistic crime-fighting strategy. What strategy is he talking about? Is there one? If so, why has it not been made public, or at least shared with stakeholders, as they promised they would? Perhaps there is none. And former Commissioner of Police Felix had once said that Guyana does not need a SWAT team. Now the police at the highest level are singing praises to the existence of the SWAT team set up by the PPP administration. In fact, there was even talk of disbanding the SWAT team. On another matter, Mr. Dataram's disappearance is a slap in the face of the Granger administration, who had recklessly legitimized his questionable bona fides by setting up a commission of inquiry into the allegations he, Dataram, made against Kanu. The first slap in Granger's face was when the commission of inquiry came up empty-handed. Now, after 16 months in government, and notwithstanding all the rattle-tattle while in opposition, that there was no National Drug Strategy Master Plan when in fact there was one. This is the government that talks so much about efficiency and effectiveness in crime fighting and drug trafficking, yet it has no drug strategy master plan nor a crime fighting strategy. We are further told that plans are afoot to expand the Mazaruni prisons. But Ramjatan must say, what is the status of the Guyana Prison Service strategic plan? Has it been abandoned? Has it been replaced? If so, with what? Is the Mazaruni Prisons expansion plan part of the Guyana Prison Service strategic plan? What is all the secrecy about? Why keep taxpayers in the dark? Recently, we heard Mr. Gaskin speaking on behalf of the AFC. He called on Guyanese to quote-unquote gear themselves for increased economic growth. The question is, where is the growth to come from when the productive sector is being stifled, the manufacturing sector is in a slump, the public service is demoralized, the global economic environment remains hostile and non-responsive, private sector investments remain frozen, foreign direct investment is now a thing of the past, the private sector and business community is battered, ostracized, neglected, pressured, and heavily taxed, compounded by untenable industrial relations and social and political democracy that are consistently trampled upon. The government is now coming under pressure from the Private Sector Commission, the trade unions, the Guyana Gold and Diamond Miners Association, the political opposition, who are all pressing for solutions to address, for example, labor relations, matters affecting the business community, challenges in the mining sector, and political and racial discrimination and witch hunting. It is under these conditions that pressures are mounted in the face of a lazy, incompetent, lackluster, and sailing government. The AFC may be no police for the APNU, but it is certainly a prisoner of the APNU.
With my busy schedule, managing that time of the month could be very challenging. With Protex cotton surface pads, I'm dry and clean for 10 hours. With Protex, I feel relaxed and confident with their absorption, leak lock protection, odor control, and thermal technology. Protex, the protection, care, and comfort you can always depend on. Take advantage of the extra savings with 10 extra panty liners when you purchase 1-pack Protex pads. Be sure to ask for Protex pads. Enjoy the comfort and savings. Distributed by Superfoods. Call 223-1034 or 223-1035.
Finally, the Mayor of Georgetown has joined Joe Harmon in the no apologies refrain. She has publicly stated that, quote unquote, without any apologies to anyone, she sees no reason why a bankrupt city council should continue to pay a security service to protect the residents of Hamilton Green, a former mayor of Georgetown. Chase Green is reported as saying that all councillors voted in favor of her proposal. She is lying. PPP Councillor Coupin did not. He opposed the request on the ground that Green is now employed at the Central Housing and Planning Authority, CHNPA, and therefore that agency should take care of such expenses. And since in any case, Georgetown citizens were told that the council was broke. So where is the money to come from to finance the security of Green's residents? How much will it cost taxpayers? Here again, the question of transparency and accountability is brought into sharp focus. There is no transparency and accountability with respect to revenues, income and expenditures of the City Council. Money is easily and stealthily being moved around to suit the whims and fancies of the APNU AFC acolytes at City Council. The 4 subsidiary accounts are still not reflected in the City Council's overall accounts. The status with respect to City Hall's accounts is unsatisfactory and unacceptable. Information as it relates to the 4 accounts remains shrouded in a lack of accountability and transparency. There is clearly institutional resistance in establishing the veracity of these accounts. City Hall is deceptive in its approach to these 4 accounts. Often the cry from City Hall is that it is cash-strapped. An audit should establish that the council is broke. Why the continued institutional resistance to the public outcry for an audit at City Hall? Thank you.
Okay, thanks. And those were comments by the GS on a number of issues. Now we'll open the floor for question.
Ronald Gandhi News. So, do you think the police has stated that since the launch of Operation Safely, 15 million persons have been brought in questioning and prosecution? Do you think that this is a success?
I think it's a little too early. I saw something in the media where the police was already crowing about how many cases they had to deal with. In less than a month, or less than 2 weeks after the Operation Safely was launched. I think it's a little too early. I mean, these things need time. There's a specific period of time over which you need to make the comparative analysis between the corresponding period of one specific time of the current year and last year. So to crow over numbers at this point in time in order to create the impression that Operation Safeway has been a success, I think it's a somewhat premature at this point in time.
Madam Harris, sir, to pick you up on the same thing about specific period of time needed to make comparative analysis. The same police used a period of time to show that crime was on the decline and you refused to accept that. And you talk about crime outside UNDP office, crime in people's homes, just about everywhere you said. But the record would show that this has always been the case. There were crime outside commercial banks, there was even a crime outside state house. So why are you insisting that the Granger comment about Guyana being a safer place a failure?
Because that's my job as a member of the political opposition. I can't do otherwise but to say that I'm not going to praise Granger's crime fighting policy because I don't know if there's one in the first place. I don't know about the robbery right in front of the NDP when we were in the government. So Granger was free to speak about what he wanted to speak about when they were in the opposition and nobody questioned them. Well, we're doing the questioning now. Every government must be made accountable. They wanted to get in the government to deal with the crime situation. Are they dealing with it? That's the question. The views of the people out there. Up to yesterday, I was moving around the city and people were talking about the crime situation. So, we're just expressing and reflecting what the public opinion is all about.
Mr. Roland and Mr. Watermelon, sir, I noticed you mentioned the departure of Mr. Ataram.
I mentioned what?
Mentioned about the departure of Mr. Ataram.
No, I didn't use that word.
This is a slap in the face. Disappearance is a slap in the
I
face.
didn't use departure.
Disappearance.
Oh, okay.
Disappearance. Could you elaborate?
Hold me to my words. Hold me to my words, because there is a tendency by some journalists to change my words and substitute it with their words. I would like my words to be used whenever I'm being quoted.
Oh, so then what do you mean like this? What evidence do you have that he disappeared as opposed to departed?
What is the question?
I'm asking what evidence do you have that he disappeared as opposed to departed? And what do you make of your word, disappearance?
Well, my friend, according to newspaper reports, he failed to turn up for trial, and a warrant has been issued for him. That's what I'm going by. I'm no longer the Minister of Home Affairs, so I'm not party to information from KANU or the law enforcement agencies. So it all depends on how accurate that reporting was.
As a former minister, what would you like to see done differently?
What?
As a former minister of Home Affairs, what would you have liked to see done differently to ensure that he
What would I like to see what?
done differently?
What do you mean done differently? Done in what way?
Well, I don't know, I'm asking you.
No, when you ask the question, you have to be clear to me so that I can answer you
What
clearly.
measures do you think could have been put in place to ensure that
That he didn't disappear?
Yes. Or that he appeared in court?
No, to ensure that he did not disappear. To ensure that he did not disappear. That is how I would put the question.
Well, proceed.
Okay? Well, put it this way. Law enforcement, KANU, and others who are in the intelligence community know to do their job better than I do as a politician. And even if I were the Minister of Home Affairs, I would have been disappointed if such a situation would have arisen, because I would have felt that they would have acted in a professional and the manner in order to ensure that he did not disappear.
By extension, Roger Khan.
Well, I don't want to go to Roger Khan.
No, why want to make a comparison? Am I
listen.
not allowed to make a comparison, sir?
No, you could make your comparison in the press when you write your story. But to ask me, no, to do a comparison between Dr. Ram and Roger Khan, my prerogative is not to go there.
Sir, was Roger Khan a slap in the face of your government?
I can't say that. I can't comment on that.
Sir, you were Home Affairs Minister.
I am saying that I'm dealing with Dr. Ram.
Yeah, I know.
And the slap in the face matter is in the context of Dr. Ram's matter. Just like the Hawley Ass minister, when he makes comments about Hawley Ass, he says it in a certain context. Well, I'm saying that this disappearance act on the part of Mr. Dr. Ram is put in a particular context.
Would you deal with any other slap in the
There
face?
is no, what you call it, there's no national drug strategy master plan. So how they're dealing with these drug traffickers? They believe what the man said, that KANU operatives bribed him. They believed it.
Didn't say so.
They didn't have to say that we're all intelligent human
The CEO,
beings.
why clear Khan?
So if they didn't believe it, why did they set up a commission of inquiry?
To find out if
Why
it's
did they
illegal.
use the president's prerogative in the Constitution to set up a commission of inquiry to investigate a known drug lord? And then the drug lord turned back and slapped them in the face by disappearing. The
So-
man who they trusted.
Sir, it was during your government that the United States government attempted to get Dataram extradited.
Mr. Harris, Mr. Adam Harris. And y'all could print this how you want to print it. But use my words.
All right.
Use my words. This tit for tat media technique that is used by some media operatives. Let's say that, look, PPP, this happened under the PPP, so nothing is wrong with it happening under the AP and AFC. There is precedent for it because it happened under you, and therefore nothing is wrong with it happening under the present government. It's a normal course or a natural course of things. Well, if that was the case, then we would never be having press conferences because we would all sit back, relax, fasten our safety belt for a safe ride into the good life that is supposed to be provided by the change administration.
Listen, well, I'm not saying that it's right. I'm not saying because it happened then and it
But
happened.
that's how it appears to
No,
me.
what I am saying to you, sir, is that is your criticism warranted? Bear
Let the
in
people
mind,
judge. Let your readers judge whether the PPP's criticism is warranted. You publish what we say in toto and let the readers or the listeners judge for themselves. Don't editorialize what I say. Just say what I said, publish what I said.
Eat fresh at Subs and Salads today. Over 12 tasty sub sandwiches to choose from. All the favorite fillings and toppings you can possibly think of. Made fresh every day. Personalize yours today. Our footlongs are a treat. More meat, more toppings on a well-baked bun. Our Caesar salads are amazing with the best ranch dressings. So let your next stop be Subs and Salads on Sheriff Street, Regent Street and Grove on the east bank of Demerara. Subs and Salads. Eat fresh.
So do you and your party believe that you have the moral authority to criticize the current government when indeed there were similar acts of transgression when the PP was involved?
But it depends on what you mean by moral authority. What is your
How can you
definition?
justifiably
What is your-
criticize the current government when similar acts of transgression occurred?
Exactly. That is precisely the point I made earlier dealing with Mr.
Yeah, I'm asking
Harris's
how can
commentary.
you?
We have all moral authority to comment on any development that is of a political, economic, or social nature that is impacting the Guyanese community and in particular our supporters. The community in general, the Guyanese community in general, and our supporters in particular. We have every moral authority to do so because we are a major stakeholder in the body politic of this country. This PPP, as I said before, is not a 2x3 party that could be easily wished to win.
Even though there were
We have
similar-
32 seats in the National Assembly. So when our 32 MPs speak, they speak with the moral authority that has been vested in them by our supporters who voted to give them 32 seats in the National Assembly and more than 40 local authority areas. That is the genesis and the basis and the acquis of our moral authority as a political party,
even though there were similar acts.
irrespective of what happened in the past.
sir,
Because questions were also asked, what is the moral authority that Granger had? Or any one of his acolytes who would have had press conferences when they were in the opposition to comment on a number of matters when they rigged elections over and over again since 1973 onwards.
Sir, when the then Home Affairs Minister, Ronald Gaitraj, spoke about removing the Georgetown prisoners, was that part of a prison plan? Because it never materialized.
No, well, at that time we didn't have a strategic plan for the Guyana Prison Service. The strategic plan for the Guyana Prison Service was formulated at the time when I was the Minister of Home Affairs. But there were plans before. There were plans before, and perhaps it could have been part of the strategic plan that existed during the Ronald Gardner's tenure at the Ministry of Home Affairs.
And what did your plan suggest for the prison service?
Well, it is a very big plan, you know, it's on the website. I don't know if they pulled it down for shame, for reasons of shame.
Were you remember anything at all that you had planned for the prisons? The prison
Oh yes,
system?
plenty of things. You could hold a special press conference on that one.
Just tell me two things
Two things.
that you had planned for the prison system.
Number one was Lusignan was to be transformed into force offender prison. That is to say, all force offenders were to be relocated from Georgetown prisons and to be sent to the Lusignan prisons. All persons who were forced for the first time, they may have been spoken in before, but having been caught for the first time with small amounts of ganja, a spiff as they call it, those persons would have been sent to Lusignan as well. And that prison was supposed to be a reformatory prison as well. That's why we were seeking to change the name of the Guyana Prison Service to the Guyana Prisons and Correctional Services, with the same Granger rejected because they didn't want to have nothing to do with Rohi. You remember that? Oh, okay.
And the second thing
The second one was in respect of the no. Well, the Mary was to be transformed into a kind of an industrial prison because they were producing things like concrete blocks and a whole host of other issues. They were more or less specializing in that. Mazruni was supposed to be the agricultural hub of the prison service, Guyana prison service. So tractors and all the necessary accoutrement that were necessary to develop the agricultural there was a component called the Agricultural Development Plan for the prisons so as to make them self-sufficient in agricultural products, having regard to the fact that huge amounts of their budget for what is called a dietary is outsourced. So that was supposed to be, so there was a specialization plan component of the prison service in that. And then New Amsterdam, there were some reforms that were also planned for the women's prisons at New Amsterdam. So there were a host of issues that were in the prison service. But the whole idea was to transform the prison service, as the name suggested, Guyana Prisons and Correctional Services. Just like Guyana Police Force, it was to change from the Guyana Police Services, and then the Fire Department was to have the name Guyana Fire and Prevention Department rather than Guyana Fire Service.
Mr. Rohi, your party commissioners of GCOM, I suspect the party too has criticized the situation there at GCOM with respect to transparency and so on, and in particular the whole question concerning the procurement of radio communication sets. But Mr. Lowenfield, the Chief Elections Officer, has said that basically GCOM has had little or nothing to do with the procurement of those items. It was done through the tender board, it was done through cabinet that gave us an objection at the time. So there is little or no basis for really questioning GCOM as far as transparency and accountability are concerned with respect to the procurement of those items. What is your reaction?
But if GCOM is looking for, if Mr. Lowenfield is looking for whatever described as a get out of jail card, let him await the outcome of the audit. I don't want to comment on that because my comments will be strictly political. I don't think that's a political issue right now. So let the audit determine whether he should have a get out of jail card on that subject.
Mr. Roy, Anna Duncan, Nightly News. Just want to query, you said that the EPC might not be policing the APNU, but your prisoner to the APNU. Can you bring some clarity to that, please? What would actually lend you to that belief?
Oh, okay. Well, life itself, you know, life itself lends us, or I would say, the typical Guyanese political observer. You don't have to be like us, who are what you call the political pundits or specialists in politics. But everybody is seeing the reality where the AFC, they went to the PNC Congress and they made a lot of statements there which showed that they've not been consumed into the warm embrace or the kiss of death of the PNC,
Like what
which is the major part of the which is a major part of the APNU. So that's number one. Number two, we have seen, for example, where they had this special conference soon after the Joe Shanlin episode on the China fiasco. They had this special conference where they were seeking to clip the wings, as it were, of Mr. Harman. But they failed to do so. In fact, instead of them clipping the wings of Mr. Joe Harman or Joe Shanlin, their wings were clipped instead. And so what we had was a situation where Mr. Nagamoto et al. Began, embarking on some what we've described as singing for your supper tunes for quite some time. And then we had the situation with where Mr. Nagamoto was supposed to chair cabinet, and Mr. Granger was made to understand, read the Riot Act and told him in no uncertain terms, even before it came the Constitution. Understand a copy of the Constitution was shown to Mr. Nagamoto, telling him, that as a lawyer, he is expected to know that it's the president that chairs cabinet and not the prime minister. Only when the president is abroad, out of the jurisdiction, if a cabinet meeting is held. And it's the president that determines whether cabinet meeting is held or not in his absence. So you don't really get to chair cabinet meetings even when the president is abroad.
So this is here, so you're related to me?
No, the first one is factual in the sense that he does not chair cabinet meetings. That's factual.
But his colleagues say otherwise.
The one about him being told by Granger, but that deep throat information.
But his colleagues say that there are occasions when he would chair cabinet even in the presence of...
Well, that his colleagues could say anything. His colleagues were the ones who defended Norton in the commission of inquiry that was set up to investigate the bond issue. So it's all of we are one family in the
Yes. Mr. Roy, can I ask you with respect to G-Committee? Can you say that if your party is deliberately concocted a story to target Mr. Lowenfield?
Our party, the PPP, is not in the business of concocting stories. We're not in that business. So forget about that.
So then on what basis?
I can't answer that, Mr. King.
I'm about to ask a question.
No, you just asked a question. You just asked a question.
I'm asking another question.
Just a minute, one at a time. Una pregunta a la vez.
Sí, señor.
I'm saying that we are not in the business of concocting stories because we are a responsible party. Even if you concoct a story, you are the one that will eventually discover that the story was not true. And then you will come to us and say, big headlines, Kaito News, Starbuck News, Demerara Waves, and throw it in our face. We can't afford that at this point in time.
So
that's the next question.
So, Mr. Roy, if the party is not concocted a story against Mr. Lowenfield, then on what basis did it arrive at its conclusion there was a lack of transparency in the procurement process in light of the fact that your cabinet secretary at the time, the cabinet offered no objection, it was the role for the tender board and so on, and of course it was not a budget agency at that time. It came under the scrutiny of the Ministry of Finance.
Well, I don't know where you get your information from. You obviously spoke to Mr. Lowenfield. I have not spoken to Mr. Lowenfield, so I would prefer to steer clear of that, and as I said before, to leave it in the hands of the auditors, let the auditors present their report so we could, pronounce more authoritatively.
All right, so but aside from my references to Mr. Lowenfield, on what basis did the party come to the conclusion that there was a lack of transparency?
Well, we heard the commissioners themselves speak at a meeting here, a press conference, that they were not party to any discussions on these matters. So I would say, we give the benefit of the doubt to our commissioners. We believe what our commissioners say.
Are you in a position, sir, to say what operated in GCOM while your party was in government? How did GCOM operate?
Rather,
A big question.
what year are you mentioning?
All
Short
right,
period?
let's go from 2011 to 2015 chart. If GCOM wanted something, how did it go about acquiring those things?
Well, usually the cabinet paper would come to cabinet, and the head of the presidential secretariat would deal with it at the cabinet. In this case, don't ask me if this one was done like that. I can't say. Because remember, I read somewhere where they said that this was a last minute something that appeared suddenly. I can't say because I was here dealing with electoral issues all the time. So, we were already in an electoral mode, and because everybody was basically. I'm not saying that because they were busy, what had to be done was not done. But as far as I'm concerned, I was at Freedom House most of the time dealing with electoral issues.
Even during cabinet sessions?
You are implying that that is a matter that went there. I just told you, Adam, that if you're seeking to have an explanation or if you're seeking to suggest that what Mr. Lowenfield may have said, or if you're seeking to get from me then, if you're seeking to get from me something to resonate with Mr. Lowenfield vis-a-vis the role of government and cabinet, you won't get us from me. I can't provide you.
Does the party want Mr. Lowenfield to get office or be replaced?
We've already said in a public statement that Mr. Lowenfield's contract should not be renewed. We said that. We issued an official statement saying that.
Mr. Rohi, you mentioned that monies are being put around to satisfy the whims and fancies of the EPN government. Can you give some examples?
No. This was in relation to the city council.
Yes.
I wasn't speaking in general. My statement, or words on that matter, was restricted mainly to what is happening at city council in the context of lack of transparency and accountability. Because if these people are saying that city council is broke, how come they're finding money to travel every time out of the country, ever so often? And number two, they're finding money to pay a guard service to protect Mr. Hamilton Green's residents. So I'm saying there's some inconsistency here. On the one hand, there's no money, but on the other hand, there's money to do certain things for their political friends and colleagues. So that's why we have concluded that the money is being used, that money is there, contrary to what they're saying about money not being there. And it is being used to satisfy the political whims and fancies.
Another question? If not, ladies and gentlemen,
Anything
off the statement of those comments. Go up with everything.
No, I know when I go get you.
All right. If there's no other question, I want to invite the press tomorrow. We have two picketing exercises. One at the High Court at 11, and another Chiefs at 12.
We begin the airport road.
We got the elections petition case.
In a democracy, we have a
Thank
right.
you very much.
You always know when you are right.
Of course. I don't know if better since I was at home.